So everybody's here, so I shouldn't have too many people go DA on me. There'll be 2 tests. I'll write it down just to make sure. Miss Johnson, look at your, are we recording yet? Yeah. Look at your outline since I assume you got it in front of you. Is it 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, 6-4, and 6-5?
Yes.
Okay, so that will be Unit 2, and it'll be called 6.1 through 6.5 test. And there'll be 3 of them, 3 tries. Takes the higher of the 3. Takes the highest of the 3. And then there'll be another test later, and I might assign them both at the same time. I don't know yet. I usually do. And it'll be 6.6, and it'll be called Unit 2, 6.6 graphing, and then it'll say test. So when you finish that test, you'll have 3 tests. You'll have the Unit 1 test, the Unit 2 6.1 through 6.5 test, and then the Unit 2 6.6 test. So there'll be 3 grades in your test bank, and then your homework grade. So if you want to find out your grade, you average those 3 grades, multiply by 0.8, and then you take the homework, multiply that by 0.2, and add them together. That's what you got. So right now, when we get through with the graphing test, you will have 3 test grades. Okay? Now, first of all, I have to cover a little bit of algebra. And the first part of algebra is called order of operations. Now, I do realize that this is kind of pre-algebraic. So, order of operations. Oops. Order of operations, and always give, that's South Carolina, and you got Clemson up here, and you got Columbia down here. I always tell this story, and I always tell the joke or the story or whatever you want to call what I'm fixing to tell you. I always tell it when I go into order of operations. You got these 3 guys. They're Clemson students. And they leave Clemson to go down to South Carolina for the Clemson-South Carolina game. 3 guys. They stop by the hotel right there outside. There used to be an Econo Lodge. I'll tell you where it is. There's the first exit in Columbia you come to, and it has a Marriott or a Hilton Gardens or a Marriott right there on the left. And then the next exit used to be this exit. It used to have an Econo Lodge with a lizard thicket right there. Okay? Now there's a big ABC store, a big liquor store on the left. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Columbia, but on the left, the second exit, I can't remember the name of the road, but it's got the liquor store right there. But that's the exit that used to have the Econo Lodge with the lizard thicket. So the Econo Lodge, they stop at the Econo Lodge right there. It's gone now, but the Econo Lodge, basically $30 a night. They go in and it's $30 a night. They only want to stay 1 night. So, and I use $30 because it's evenly divisible by 3. So that means they get a room for how much a night? $10 a night. Each of them give the guy that's going in the office, they give him $10. And he puts in $10. So that's $10 a piece. So they get a room and they go back to the room. And the office manager, he owns the place. He's an old grandpa. He says, I charge them too much. That room is right above the dumpster, and it stinks. So I need to charge them less. That's $25 a night. So I'm going to give them $5 back. He gives a $5 bill to his grandson, and the grandson runs up halfway upstairs and says, how am I going to give 3 guys a $5 bill? Because they all paid for the room, meaning they all gave money to the room. How am I going to give $5 to 3 guys? So he went back downstairs and said, Grandpa, I need you to give me 5 $1 bills. And he gave him 5 $1 bills, and he ran back up the stairs. And he got about halfway upstairs, and what did he say? How am I going to give 5 $1 bills to 3 guys? So he thought for a minute. He put 2 in his pocket. Okay, you with me? Put 2 in his pocket. I'm going to put 2 in the pocket. And gave each one of them what?
$1.
Gave each one of them $1. So what did they pay for the room? They paid $9 a piece for the room, right? And what's 9 times 3?
7.
Plus the 2. Where's the extra $1? Well, let's see. 9 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27, isn't it? Got 2 in his pocket. Wait a minute. What the heck? You know how much liquor and beer you can win off of this? Okay? I'm sorry. Do you know how much money you can win off of this? Especially when you got a math guy that went in the Marine Corps that learned this before he went in the Marine Corps. Okay? Sometimes I would not pay for any of my food or refreshments. Where's the missing $1? I've done told you he put 2 in his pocket, and I put it back in there. I said add 2, subtract 2. 27 plus 2 is 29. Where's the $1? Where's the missing $1? You tell me the answer, and you get it right, you can leave. No, I'm just kidding. Who's got a guess? Miss Johnson's sitting there. I want to try to leave. I want to leave. Who's got the answer? What does that shirt say today?
Dibs on the drummer.
I'm offended. Doesn't matter
I
why.
want to get a shirt that says I'm offended on it.
There you go. That's what you need. Where's the missing $1? I need an answer. What do I take this silence as?
So we ain't got a clue.
Okay, Mr. Robinson, quit playing. Let's have the answer.
I'm just going to throw something out there since somebody else ain't going to answer.
You go right ahead. What you going to throw out there?
Maybe he just dropped $1. So he dropped $1 somewhere.
No, nothing like that. He didn't eat the $1. That's one thing that I've been told. He didn't drop the $1. He didn't put $1 in the Coke machine. His grandpa didn't give him 4. I told you his grandpa gave him how many? 5. I told you that. Gave him 5 $1 bills. He didn't throw it down on the ground. Let's see, what else have I been told? Aliens did not abduct the $1. The Russians did not sabotage the $1. The Russians did not throw the kid in the van, beat him up, and take $1 out of his pocket. Okay, that did not happen. So, what happened to the $1?
I don't know.
I subtracted, and then I what?
Multiply.
I multiplied. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What am I supposed to do first? Multiply, then subtract. Okay, let's take a look at what I really did. Okay? I subtracted 10 minus 1. And I multiplied by 3, and then I added 2. 10 minus 1. 10 minus 1. And then I multiplied by 3, and then I added 2. That's basically what I did. Now, what if I multiplied first? Yeah. You multiply 3 times 10 and then subtract it, that would work out better. It's kind of like if you do this. Let me give you an example, a good example, that you can understand. We're dealing with subtraction and multiplication, right? So 4 minus 1 times 6. And then 4 minus 1 times 6. There's 2 equations. You got 2 choices. You can do the subtraction first, or you can do the multiplication first. Now, what's 1 times 6?
6.
4 minus 6 is what?
-2.
What's 4 minus 1?
3.
3.
3 times 6 is?
18.
So which one's correct? The -2. That's wrong. The reason this works so well is because of the number setup. You set up with 30, you take away 5, you take away 2, and it works better that way. The dollar comes up to be 1. You could change 30 to 35, and the dollar may come up to be 3, and then it starts to get you should kind of figure it out. Everybody see what I'm saying? How in the world can you tell what to do? Well, a lot of people say, well, all you got to remember is please excuse my daring salad. No, that's not the answer. Because I can give you this number sentence right here. 3 divided by 2 multiplied by 6. All right, do that one. Do it on your paper. And I'll tell you what people do, and I'll tell you if it's right or not. Here's what people do. 2 times 6 is what?
12. That's at 3.
3 divided by 12 is equal to
4.
1/4, 4.25. And guess what? That is 100% wrong. Well, then what do? This is what the correct answer is. That's the correct answer. And I guarantee you somebody in here didn't know that 9 was the correct answer. Because they did the first one. Okay, the first one is 100% teetotally wrong. Well, Hubert, how in the heck are you supposed to know? Because all I never know was, please excuse my daring salad. Well, that's because you weren't taught correctly. Or, in benefit of the teacher's doubt, in benefit of the doubt with the teacher taught you and you just didn't listen. Okay? One of those 2 things or both happen. So, in mathematics, we have addition and what? Subtraction. And I have multiplication. I'm sorry. It's the drugs and the alcohol. Hold on. Addition and what? And subtraction. And then you have multiplication and what? Division. Why do I put these 2 together? And why do I put those 2 together? Why didn't I put addition and multiplication or addition and division? Why did I put addition and subtraction together? And why did I put multiplication and division together?
Because they're the opposite of each other.
Thank you. Okay? Think of 2 blood relatives. Now, y'all notice I said blood relatives, okay? Blood relatives, not marriage, not adoption, okay? Not kidnapping, All right? But two blood relatives that fuss and fight all the time. Who is that?
Brothers, sisters.
Brother and what? Brother and sister. So I'm going to call these two brother and sister. Now, a lot of you say, well, I don't know. I have a sister. I don't have a brother. Shut up. Okay? You know what the heck I'm talking about. Siblings, okay? We're going to call them siblings. I'm going to hold my pinky up and we're going to say siblings. No, I'm going to call it brother and sister. You can say brother and brother. You can say sister and sister if you want to. But brother and sister sticks in your head better. Brother and sister. If I have a mathematical sentence that is brother and sister, how do I do it? The same way we've been reading for 30, 35 years of our lives. Or how old are, let's say that the youngest person in here is 18 years old. How long have you been reading? Since you were what, 4 or 5? So we'll say 15 to 40 years of your life. Which way do we read?
Left or right?
Left to right. So that means you're going to do the problem left to what?
Right.
Left to right. Boom. So what if you have, let's say you got brother and sister here, and then you have brother and sister here, and their mom and daddies are brother and sister or whatever. You got cousins, right? So if you have a mixture of these guys, all these are mixtures, the 4 different mixtures right there. If you've got a mixture, then you have what's called cousins. And cousins go to where? Cousins go to Aunt Sally's house. Please excuse what?
Dear Aunt Sally.
Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I put that on the board one time, just like that. And I put, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and I had this smart alecky, nasal, Pennsylvania talking person in my class. You know, these people, I'm not talking about people from Pennsylvania. I'm just saying people that irritate the heck out of you, okay? They go, Mr. McClure, yes, I do not know what please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is. I said, well, it's parentheses, exponents, multiply. Oh, you mean PEMDAS. Whatever the hell you want to call it, lady. Those people irritate me, okay? I've just put it on, what does that spell? It spells what? PEMDAS, right? All right, I wrote it exactly like that, only I put please. I put it in little small letters. It was a chalkboard back then. Please excuse. Yes, I used a chalkboard way back then.
Wow.
My dear Aunt Sally. I did it just kind of like that, but it was a little bit smaller. I made the first letter predominant. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I kind of made, you know how you turn a piece of chalk sideways and make a big thick letter? That's what I did. It was one of the, I only taught on chalkboard one semester. One semester, my first semester. And the next semester they put in whiteboards. So, anyway, and she said, I don't understand, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I said, okay, well, oh, you mean PEMDAS. Whatever you want to call it. People like that need a girlfriend or a boyfriend or both. They need something in their life, okay? People like that, you just want to, Mr. Robinson, you know what I'm talking about? He's not talking to me. I made him mad.
I do.
What? I mean, it's almost like they wait for you to do something so they can say, you know, oh, that's why I'm not married. All right, so.
Marriage is hard. I tell you.
You know, splitting a frog's hair 3 ways to me is worthless. And saying to a teacher, I don't understand that. I was taught PEMDAS. And if I said PEMDAS, she would have said, I don't understand what that is. I was taught, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Anyway, so if I give you a question, I say, nobody's going to jump in. I figured somebody would say, yeah, I know somebody like that. No, not in this class. This class, nobody talks. Okay, so thought Mr. Robinson was going to help me out, but he didn't even help me out. He left me hanging. So, two. I can't hear him. He's sitting in the back. He's sitting in the closet back there. I can't hear a word he's saying. What did you say, Mr. Robinson?
I don't know nobody have ever acted like that before.
Oh, well, you will. You will.
Probably something wrong with you.
Yeah, there is something wrong with them. They ain't got no life. 2 times 3 minus 7. Do we have brother and sister, or do we have cousins?
Brother and sister.
No, we do not. They have cousins because you have those red lines. Multiplication is down here. Subtraction is up here. That's a cousin. That's a red line. So we got to use, and it just so happens that this comes out to be, what if you had this? What if you had 7 minus 2 times 3? You would not do this left to right. Now this one comes out to be left to right, and or, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But this one doesn't. So you can't do, oh, we're just going to go left to right. No, you can't do that with cousins. You have to do what? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So you're going to have to do this first. Do this first. And then whatever's left, then you deal with it. So this is 6 minus 7, which is -1. And this is 7 minus what? 6, which is what? +1. So you get 2 different answers. They're both correct because I set the problem up to be like that. But you can't just say, well, I'm just going to go left to right with all my problems. No, you can't do that. Versus this. 3 minus 7 plus 6. Left to right, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally?
Left to right.
Left to right. Miss Bowman, what is that a picture of? Looks like, what is that above your head? Is that just the ceiling? It looks like she's got a floor on top of her. Y'all ever seen Demolition Man where they got a glass floor and they shoot the glass floor out? It looks like a glass floor above her head. She looks like she's in an aquarium or something. All right. I'll shut up. Which way? Left to right. What's 3 minus 7? -4, Hubert. Thank you, class. What's -4 plus 6? Now, what if you did, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally? What would you do first? 7 plus 6 is what? 13. What's 3 minus 13? Not 2.
10.
Yeah, so you get 2 different answers.
Not 7, 6.
That's awesome. That's Miss Bowman. She's talking to a turtle in the aquarium. Tough and length. What famous movie characters, turtles, were named Cuff and Link? Famous movie character. Oh yeah, y'all don't watch movies. Y'all watch YouTube.
I don't.
Rocky.
But I still don't.
Rocky Balboa.
The only turtle I know is from the Bevo.
Yeah, that's all y'all watch. Y'all either watch YouTube or you watch the animated cartoon movies that have one thing. People getting lost and traveling, trying to find their way back home.
Franklin's a turtle too, right?
Oh my God. I think y'all. You know what? You know what I'm going to do in here? We're going to spend one day and we're going to take excerpts of great movies and great TV shows and great commercials. We're going to do that one day because somewhere y'all have I ain't kidding you.
It's always been frosted.
Y'all dropped the ball. I mean, y'all's parents have dropped the ball. What'd you say, Miss Johnson?
I was talking about the door.
What's your
I'm
favorite
talking
movie?
about something, she's talking about the door.
I'm sorry, they put like a frosting on it so you can't see through it, and I just realized that.
Sir, what's your favorite movie?
Thank you. Mr. Robinson's finally catching on. You know, we get him chasing rabbits. He won't talk about math anymore. Yeah. My favorite movie is probably the Rocky series. Rocky 1 and Rocky 2.
Really?
Rocky 3 was good. Rocky 4 was okay. Rocky 5 should have never been made.
I take my favorite movies.
What's
The
your favorite
Lion
movie?
King,
Yep.
A Walk to Remember,
Yep.
see, 8 Seconds.
Yep.
What?
8 Seconds. Probably Bad Boys.
Oh, I hate that movie.
I have no idea.
I like Grease.
He doesn't know any
I
of
like
us.
Grease.
I've heard of The Lion King. That's the only one I've heard of.
Oh my god.
You never seen A Walk to Remember? It'll make you cry.
Yeah, it will.
Who
It's on
was
VHS.
that? Huh?
Andy Moore.
Mandy Moore.
Never heard of her.
Oh, Lord.
I've never seen that either.
You'll cry. Oh, my goodness.
What's The
I
Walk
like,
to Remember about?
It's a sad movie.
It's about this girl. They make
It's a chick
fun
flick.
of her,
It's a chick flick.
and,
I watch chick flick. I mean, my
about
girl
this
is
girl.
my girl is daggum Sandra Bullock. I love chick flick.
Yeah, that's my
She's
girl
in it.
too. But it's about this girl, and they make fun of her, and then when they get in trouble at the beginning of the movie, and then one of the dudes that got in trouble, they have to basically do all this stuff, and he starts falling in love with her. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let's change the title to what is your favorite classic movie?
Grease.
Okay.
Classic.
Grease. Hey, we got commonality here. Grease. That's one of my favorites.
And
Animal
Wizard of
House.
Oz. Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Animal House.
Harlem Nights.
Definitely not.
Rocky. What?
Harlem Nights. Eddie Murphy, Red Fox.
Okay. Now I like Eddie Murphy in my favorite Eddie Murphy is Trading Places. That's my favorite
I like
Eddie
the
Murphy.
Twilight series too.
Hunger Games. Hunger Games.
No, Hunger Games. That woman can go jump in a damn lake for all I care.
It's okay. I'll save her. It's fine.
Why do you not like it?
You don't like Katniss Everdeen?
I like the character. The actress can go to hell. All right, so let's go. I'm gonna just get off of that. I'm not going. We're not going. That's a nerve with me. She can. Oh yeah, I thought she was gonna move. Yeah, that's it. She's one of those actresses that was gonna move to a different.
Oh, yeah.
day. Yeah. Guess what?
She
She's
didn't.
made 2 or 3 movies since then because she likes making what?
Money.
Money. What is that called? That's called a capitalist society, isn't it?
What was she
Freaking hypocrite. Anyway, I ain't got no use for those people.
Like a bunch of
Sorry.
thing. So they were gonna move.
Yeah, let's bash the capitalistic society. And it's okay as long as we're making what?
Because
It's okay as long as we're making money off of it. All right, so let's do a nerd.
Oh yeah.
Let's do a nerd. 3, or let's go with 17 divided by
Anything
2
Monty Python is good too.
multiplied by 7.
So I've never actually seen that.
We actually talked to you.
Another classic movie, Tin Cup. I love that movie.
Never seen that.
Tin Cup. It's got Kevin Costner in it. Yeah.
What is that movie? Is that Robin Flies Over the Cuckoo? What is that called?
Jack Nicholson,
What's the movie called?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anything Monty Python's good too.
I never heard of it. Who's Monty Python?
Oh my gosh, y'all.
I've never heard of Monty Python. Who is that?
You need to Google it.
Okay.
It's real funny.
I'll tell you, classic Friday.
Friday.
Chris Tucker and Ice Cube.
Don't know that one.
You never seen Friday?
Mm-mm.
Watch
It's
it.
hilarious.
Okay, let me go ahead and tell you why. Okay? I'm not a comedy movie watcher. I'm not. This comedy, I won't watch it. I watched Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was probably one of the last ones that I actually enjoyed watching on the movie theater. But after that, it was very non-creative. Two guys getting drunk, can't find their car, and run around knocking each other on the head. Three Stooges type comedy. That don't make me laugh. I'm sorry. That don't make me laugh.
But what you like, suspense?
I like horror. Horror, thrillers, that type stuff.
You like Insidious?
I didn't like the Insidious movies. I didn't like them. They were too into the dreaming and into that. That's why I didn't like Freddy Krueger. That was just
Did you see The Collection?
The Collection. What is that about?
It's a scary movie.
No, I don't believe I have.
Oh, it is the best scary movie.
I'll have to watch it. Is it about? It ain't about zombies. I don't get into zombies either.
Oh no, it's not zombies.
The Collection. I have to look at that one.
It's
I don't
really,
believe
really good.
I've seen it.
But my problem is I can't remember what scary movies I've seen. I've seen so many of them. Just like Miss Johnson mentioned one to me the other day, and I was like, okay, I'll look at that. And I ended up seeing both of them, the number 1 and number 2. I just couldn't remember the name of it. So I'll have to look at The Collection.
It's The Collector, not The Collection. I had to look it up.
What's it about? Tell me what it's about.
Oh no, maybe it is. Well, it says
She don't
Collector here, but it says Collection there.
Maybe it's first and second.
Anyways, it's about like these people at a party, and the collector is like up on the ceiling. There's like a beam. He like sits there, and like blades come down and like kills a bunch of people.
Oh my god.
And then there's one girl that survives, and she goes into a room, and there's a box, and she unlocks it, and when she does, he like turns around and like pushes her in it and takes her off to this place, and he like collects people.
Oh no, no.
Yeah, I believe I could watch that. I believe I'll have to look at that.
It's on Netflix or is it brand new?
Mm-mm.
Is it like new? Is it new?
It is from 2009.
I'll have to look that one up.
No,
Thank
that
you.
is not confusing to me.
All right, let's do this. What are we going to do? Is it brother and sister or is it cousins?
Brother and
Brother and
sister.
sister.
So we're going to go left to what?
Right.
Right.
Left to right, 17 divided by 2, multiplied by 7 over what? 1. That gives us what? 7 times 17 is 119. Somebody check it out for me. Somebody multiply 7 times 17. What do you get?
Yeah, 100.
119.
And that's your answer. So you got to know when to do things and when not to do things. Left to right. How about this one? How about 3 plus 7 times 4 to the second power?
You have to do the exponents first.
You have to
No,
do
you have
the
to do the
parentheses
parentheses
first.
with the exponents.
3 plus 7 is 10 times 4 to the second. Now what? Exponents. 4 to the second is what?
16.
And of course that is 100 and what?
60.
60. Now those type problems work themselves out because they actually have the tools in the sentence that no matter which way you go, if you know basic rules of math, you're not going to mess it up. So this one is one that you hardly can mess up because you know you can do the 4 to the second first if you want to. That's 16. But you can't do what across parentheses? You can't do anything across parentheses unless you distribute. Now, if I distributed and got rid of the parentheses, then you could mess that up. Because you would have to do the 7 times 4 first and then add the 3. Okay, because there's no parentheses there anymore. So if I wrote 3 plus 7 times 4 to the second power, you got to use, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and you would do the what first?
Exponents.
So that would be 3 plus 7 times what? What's 4? That's 16. And now you do what first? What?
You said what's 4 to the 16?
Okay, 4 to the second power is 16. And now you would do 7 times 16, which is what? Well, 7 times 6 is 42, Hubert.
112.
112, plus 3 is what?
115.
Got 2 different answers. Those are 2 different animals. These are 2 different animals. See, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You've got to be careful because this looks awfully like this one, but it's not the same animal. That's a tiger and that's a cat, or a cat and a tiger, whichever one you want to call it. Or a zebra and a horse. There are no more zebras in Venezuela zoos. Y'all know they've all eaten them all. There's no more zoos in Venezuela. Because they've eaten all the zoo animals. Some of y'all, what's scary is, some of y'all have no idea what I'm talking about. That's really sad. Next, you don't need to raise your hand and say, you're talking about me. No, I just said, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you need to watch the news a little bit more. Next. Well, next we're talking about algebra. That's 6.1. I just went over 6.1 for those that don't know. 6.1 is pretty simple. Okay? I mean, Unit 2 test, what are you talking about? Maybe 1 or 2 questions on the whole test from 6.1. 6.1 is 10% of your test. Okay, what's the title of 6.2 in the outline?
Formulas.
Formulas. Okay? Formulas are mathematical sentences or mathematical sentences written with variables. Math sentences written with variables. There's 2 types of formulas formula problems you're going to be asked to do. One, plug and chug. What does plug and chug mean?
I don't know.
Are y'all telling me that y'all have been through at least 12 years of school and you have never heard the term plug and chug? Huh?
You plug the formula into whatever you're doing.
You plug the numbers in to the what?
The formula.
Yes, that's what plug and chug is called. That's not a Hubertism. That is something that's been in mathematics for years. Because my professors at Clemson, they told me, plug and chug, plug and chug. So, but I don't know. With teachers these days, who knows? All right. Probably offensive in some matter. Cupcakes and snowflakes in the world. Probably is offensive. Plug and chug. The second type is to solve for a variable. Okay, so that's the 2 types. Which one's the easiest? Well, it should be number 1. But some of y'all can break an anvil with a banana. Some people can make something difficult out of something what? Easy. So we'll just go with both of them are pretty simple, but to each their own. A plug and chug example would be distance equals rate times time. I give you the rate is equal to 55 miles per hour. Well, let's make it something simple, like our video. Let's make it 60 miles per hour. Okay? 60 miles per hour, and T is 1 hour. Well, let's plug in. 60 times 1 is what?
60.
So you have traveled 60 miles. I showed y'all that video, didn't I?
Yeah.
I bet some of y'all watched it again, didn't you? No.
No.
It was painful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine carrying on a conversation with a person like that?
God.
And asking them to spell mom backwards? Now, what if I give you D is equal to R times T, and I tell you to solve for T? Well, if I tell you to solve for T, then I've got to divide by R, and if I do it on one side, I got to what?
Do it on the other.
Do it on the other. So T is equal to D over R. That's the two type of formula problems you will be asked to do. Again, on the test, 10%. 10% of the problems that you're going to see on your test is going to come from, what did you say, 6.2? Is this 6.2?
Yeah.
Where is the algebra? Is algebra 6.3?
Yes.
Okay, that's where most of your test is going to come from. So let's do another example. Let's do area of a triangle is equal to 1/2 base times what? Height. And I'm going to give you B is equal to 3/4 and H is equal to 1/2. Okay, find the area of that triangle, and that could be 3/4 of a mile, or it could be 1/2 mile. It could be 3/4 of a foot or 1/2 foot. Doesn't matter what the measurement is, you just be able to get it. But what is the area of that triangle if base is equal to 3/4 and the height is equal to 1/2? Well, you plug in what?
Chug.
Plug and chug. 1/2 times 3/4 times 1/2. Well, 1 times 3 times 1 is what? 3. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 2 is what?
16.
So your area is 3/16 square units. Square feet, square miles, square meters, square whatever. That is a plug and chug. But let's take the same problem and solve for H. Solve for H. First thing you're going to do is multiply both sides by 2. Why? Because you want to get rid of the what? Fraction. Whenever you solve for a variable, you always want to get rid of the fraction first, and then go back to the directions and say, okay, what do we solve for? I've gotten rid of the fraction. Always get rid of the fraction first. So I'm going to multiply by the common denominator, which is 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And what does that do to the 1/2? Takes it out. So now my formula is 2A equals B times H. Now I go back to my directions and I say, okay, I got rid of that nasty fraction. What do I need to solve for? I need to solve for H, okay? So now I divide both sides by B. So B is equal to 2 of the area divided by the base. I'm sorry, H. I canceled the wrong one. Sorry, H. And that's how you do formulas. Now they can get a little bit more difficult, but I don't get into the real difficult ones. For instance, one like this one, I'll show you one that I remember off of a standardized test. Now the variables may not be the same, but A is equal to B times Q sub 1 plus Q sub 2. And they want you to solve for B. Well, if I want to get rid of multiplying by a block, I'm going to divide by that block. Q sub 1 plus Q sub 2. And if I do it on one side, I got to do it on the other. So B is equal to A over Q sub 1 plus Q sub 2. And you're not going to have very many on your homework. You're going to have about 5 or 10 of plugging and chugging, and you're going to have about 5 or 10 of solving for a variable. Capiche?
Capiche.
Okay. Nobody's got any questions?
Yes, sir.
Wait a minute. Miss Bowman is going to try to log back on. Hold on. Her laptop just froze up. Let me see if I can pull her back up just to go over the last minute stuff.
Oh, my hair got caught.
Oh, the worst.
Ow. Hurts. Yeah.
Okay, I hate for just hold on a minute. Okay, she hadn't come back on yet. Just give it a second.
It's growing so much Christmas, I had it cut up like at my shoulders. Yeah. I have no idea. Not a clue.
I'm gonna wait till she comes back on and then we.
It's pretty back really, really quickly.
I'd like for her to come back on, hopefully.
They were so cute. Well, I got my cut it and it'll take forever.
Yeah.
Give her another minute or two.
I have so much to do.
Well, come on, man. Do it. I'd like for. I don't want her to log on and we'd be gone. That's what I don't want her to do. Well, she can't log on. I have to invite her. I just wanted to invite her. And then, well, I don't want to go over too many sections, and I don't want to go over the algebra yet because the algebra I'm going to spend probably a couple of meetings on, and I'd like to do that next week because right now, when's the test due?
Tonight.
Tonight.
Some of y'all still haven't done the test. It's 10 o'clock tonight to start 3 tests, and something's going to strike your house, lightning or something's going to go wrong because that's when.
But what do you mean?
He has 3 attempts.
Okay.
Oh.
Right for a second.
Oh, Lord.
Well, she's still not on, so I don't know what's going on. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and let me tell you what we're going to do. So right now you can do I'll see if it's open. If it's not open, then no, not a big deal. But 6.1 and 6.2 is what we covered today. And y'all should be finishing up your test. And then next week we'll go into 6.3. And 6.3 will be basically 80% of your first unit 2 test. Okay? Any questions? All right. Y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all Monday. Have a good weekend.